Todd, it's been a while. We're going to probably be sending out a wellness check soon because is this a joke? Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. I'm your host, Dakota, here with my co-host, Jordan. And today we're talking about the audacity of Todd McFarlane, the man. I feel like this is one of the epitomes of the Dark Knight quote of you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And he did it with a Joker figure because Todd has always been a man of the people, for the people, giving us quality products. You know, there's arguments that maybe they're not the best, but he keeps them at a decent price point, usually around that $20-ish, 25, maybe you're pushing 30, but he's giving you wired capes, accessories. It's a lot of plastic in the box usually. But he just went off the deep end with this Joker box set thing. It costs $250, right, Jordan? $250?
$250, Dakota. We're sitting at a cool $250 for that Joker Franklin Murray late night. I don't even want to call it a dio. I guess it kind of has a backdrop piece, but technically, doesn't a dio have to have a floor and a back? And I feel like at that point it becomes the dio.
Right.
Which I guess there's a cardboard floor, or looks to be something like it. So maybe we can call it that.
It comes with like some props too, like movie props. Like it's got like the Joker card of like, sorry I laugh, here's my condition type of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Like a notebook I didn't even really look too much into it because I saw the price tag and was like, you're out of your daggone mind. It doesn't matter what's in this box unless there's $200 in that box.
Right. Yeah. So you get, it looks like the backdrop piece. There's the flooring, which I zoomed in. I don't think I could read anywhere, but it definitely looks like some kind of cardboard type material. And then, of course, you get the figures, the desk, some plant chair, that kind of stuff.
Oversized mug.
Then, you get the little tin. Yes, the oversized mug, which, I noticed looked comically large in a weird way. And then, you got the tin sign, a notebook of some kind, and then, as you said, the card. It's on Cardstock though, Dakota Premium, and then like a flyer or something. So that kind of seems to be the offering.
And now, I thought originally, maybe this is a mistake. Maybe they put $250 and they meant $150, which I still think would be pretty high for what this is because it just is. But they doubled down. They went on social media, I think mostly Facebook, and they posted a full post, and they posted on their story. They're like, what was their reasoning, Jordan?
Right. Well, first of all, I will say I was surprised that they posted that, just because I know we saw it, and then most of the comments, of course, were like, this is way too much, this is super expensive, which I get. And then, for them to actually, within like 4 hours, I think, make the statement of like, hey, we heard your concerns about the price. I was half expecting it to be, like you said, maybe a mistake, maybe we're lowering it. But I think they said due to the mature nature of the Joker movie, we have certain restrictions, and then we tried to give you like the best value within those restrictions.
Right. And like they stand by the value
kids,
that's in the box.
Dakota.
Right. Yeah.
The adults have that adult money.
Right.
So I think after I read that, I did do some reading, and there was some speculation that like there hasn't been a lot of merchandise for the Joker as far as like pops or other kind of figures, that sort of thing. Almost thinking that maybe it's like a WB restriction. Like if you're selling Joker stuff, it needs to be at like a certain price point. I don't know if that's, we just want to make money from it. If it's like, this is a mature film, so we can only have like, like a hot toy or, whatever kind of like high end merch that you would want to have, I guess.
Which would make sense if it was a hot toy. Like nobody's going to question, like if Hot Toys put out a Joker and they're like, this is going to cost you $250. Sure, it's Hot Toys. That's what they charge. Right. But not McFarlane.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems weird. I mean, I think you could, if you really had to do that, say, okay, how do we make it worth $250? I mean, you could pack in like the yellow taxi cab he's in or something. I mean, at that point, I'd be like, okay, at least you get a vehicle.
Sure.
I mean, like that to me would be the way to do it. Because I mean, I think we were even running rough numbers. Like, say the figures were 30 each. That's still high, but even if they were, that puts you at 60. it'd be very generous to put the Dio at like 100, but even if it was at
Right.
that, that's still what, shy of $90.
Yep.
And like, are you telling me that really is covered by the tin sign and the pieces of paper? So, I mean, even if you're being generous with what those are worth, I don't think you're anywhere close to
No.
250.
So, all right, Jordan, if all the folks, I would assume nobody's going out and buying this. What's a comparable? So Joker set 250.
Right.
What else can people spend their money on?
Well, Dakota, a year ago I spent less than 250, and I'm now the proud owner of this small child. That, look at that guy. This was what, 220, I think, with tax ultimately.
With taxes and shipping, all that,
Which,
everything.
I'd had this thought, and I think when I said it to you, you really were like, "Oh my gosh, you're right, Giant Man."
Yeah.
This is without his faceplates and zombie heads, so you're not even seeing that.
Sure.
For less than what you would be paying for the Franklin Murray Joker set. And look at those articulated fingers, folks. Come on. Which that is actually pretty baffling.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
if you want to talk about a lot of plastic, that's a lot of plastic. A whole HasLab. And like, okay, maybe you're like, oh, but Jordan and Dakota, that was a year ago. Now the HasLab Giant Man's going for 300. The Sentinel that they have on their order right now, which I got to check when that ends because I haven't put in my orders yet, but I got to put in some orders for that. But that's like 120 or something, isn't it? 150?
I thought it was more than that. It was like 175, I think. But
175?
still,
all right. Less than 250.
Then, that's $75 less. And that's a pretty big figure. Quite substantial.
Yeah. And I pulled up a few examples within McFarlane here. So even if you wanted to stay in McFarlane's camp, you can go on his website right now. He's got a deal for an entire end cap for what would go in a store. You're going to get 24 action figures for $250. So pretty drastic. I mean, you're going to get some repeats in there, sure, but still the sheer amount of characters, you're going to get 6 Supermans, black and white, 6 Flash, 6 Superman Rebirths, 6 Batman Beyonds, and then a whole display to go with that. That's just, again, a lot of plastic.
Even those like Batman 6-packs. I mean, remember when those came out? Those were, I want to say like 150 maybe.
Something like that,
I'd have to fact check that, folks. But still, I mean, to get then 6 figures of Batman of cool different iterations. I mean, it's just, I really can't see it. And I think we've looked at it from a lot of different angles, and I don't know. It is confusing because, like you said, Todd has always been the like, I give you, it might not always be the best quality, but like I deliver it for a pretty respectable price. And we've seen this year, those wired capes have been quite impressive, and it's made me like, oh, okay, I'll for $30, like this is a pretty good Batman, or 25, or whatever they are. So it is kind of a strange move to go with the $250 set with this pack. So even outside of the realm of McFarlane, Dakota, you've always been pushing me to get some hot toys. So I started thinking, doing Dakota girl collecting math, if I save my money by not buying this, I could buy for $10 more. It actually might be the same with shipping and tax, a Doc Brown hot toy, 1/6 scale, which looks quite impressive. It's about $260 on Big Bad Toy Store. And if I were to own a Doc Brown figure, I'd probably want a hot toy in all its glory. That one looked cool. They have a $240 MCU Doctor Strange hot toy. Also looks quite nice. At $220, now get this one, Stan Lee from Thor Ragnarok, which probably if you were to get a Stan Lee cameo figure, that'd probably be the one. Remember where he's the hairdresser and he's got the like giant? I think that'd be pretty funny. So those alone are 3. I mean, just comparing, there's even like a full-size baby Grogu, baby Yoda, I think, like to scale.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, I just can't imagine. There, like if you were to sit down, if we have Todd back and be like, Todd, please just make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
How the comparison is there.
Yeah. I got a couple I got Cosmic Legions. I want you to get into Mythic Legions more, Jordan. We just went to Legions Con.
Right.
Speaking of that, we're going to be giving away a Mythic Legion on our next episode, so stay tuned. But you could go on Store Horseman right now. You can buy the entire second wave of Cosmic Legions for $200, and then you still have $50 left over to go buy more. That'd be 2 other like standard figures. So a whole wave. And then you want to talk waves, let's go over to Marvel Legends. On Big Bad Toy Store, you can get the Bring on the Bad Guys wave, which is the Zemnu Build-A-Figure wave, which they're fairly cheap, but they're really good characters, I think. You've got
great wave, I got to say. I think that is one of the all-time greats, I got to say.
Right, Hasbro. Exactly. So you get not only that, but you could also get the AOA Wave 2 with the Build-A-Figure being Colossus. You can get both of those for $220. And you could swap out the AOA wave for like the Joe Fixit Hulk that's got Kang and some like Gamerverse characters in there, but those were the 2 I would pick if I was going to pick 2 waves. But $220, you're still spending less. Maybe you're like, yeah, Marvel Legends are a little too cheap for me. I want something nicer. Go get yourself a Mafex Hush Superman and a Nightfall Mafex Batman on Amazon. $217 out the door.
Boom.
Probably the 2 best versions of those characters. Maybe you like the Hush Batman. That one's going to cost you a little bit more. Still might even keep you within that $250 range, though.
Right.
Saying I'm sick of DC. Give me some Marvel. You can go over to Mezco. Get yourself a Ghost Rider. That's $250. I still think that's pretty expensive.
Still a bit much, but
comparing $250 to $250, I'd rather have the Ghost Rider than this Murray Joker.
Agree. I could finally get my Mezco Nosferatu. I've been waiting for it, Dakota, which I've never wanted to splurge on that. But if I were to splurge on a Mezco, it probably would be that one. And I think that one is around at least between $200 and $250, which is still a lot. But, you know, I mean, you could find yourself definitely an Atticus Doom, a Doc Nocturnal. I mean, there's no shortage of cool Mezcos that you could you could at least usually get like 2 for around $250 if you depending on which ones you get.
I mean, especially if they're newer, usually that's around 100 to 120.
Well, and that's the thing. Well, like when you get these, it is going to be a McFarlane quality figure. Like we know what the McFarlane quality figures are, and again, when you get them for a good price, it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, you also I ran the math, Dakota, and you could get almost 20 Marvel Legends the Hood. For $250.
That makes sense. Especially if you found those, you could probably double it if you got them loose in the groups. And
those would be new. But think about that. You could have almost 40, maybe like 30 Frogmen.
Yeah.
You're telling me Franklin Murray 2-pack is better than 30 Frogmen? No.
I don't see it. We're going to get outside. So you're like, I can buy all these action figures. I don't have the space for 30 Frogmen. How about a one-way trip from LA to Honolulu? $277.
Wow.
I'd rather go to Hawaii. I think that's getting home would be another story, but you know, you can at least get there for $270.
That's quite a few tanks of gas. I mean, who knows where that could take you?
True.
Almost. What are gumballs these days? A quarter?
Yeah.
1,000 gumballs. No, wait.
I don't know the math on that.
No, more than that. Wait, no, 4 times 250? Yeah, that's 1,000 gumballs.
So hopefully we've given you some options on how else to spend your $250. Whenever we get McFarlane back on the show, you can guarantee we're going to be bringing this one up. We talked about Year 2 Batman when we had him on last time and the exploding arms. So I'd love to get it straight from the horse's mouth, straight from the Todd father himself. What is going on here? Because it doesn't make sense to us. So you can go check out that initial interview we did with Todd way back. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing.
I'd also like to hear from our viewers, Dakota, in a comment. If you are buying this, make it make sense to us then. Or,
what's wrong with you?
No, because if someone sees it and is like, I really get it, I am always open to hearing that argument. I just really don't see it. But I would like to hear from people who maybe are excited about it or who do want it, kind of what their take on it is.
I did see, I think it was, I don't know if it was I think it was when I posted the link because, you know, I got those affiliate links. If somebody's buying this through my affiliate links, I might actually make $1. Whereas usually I'm only making 10 cents. But If you do want this, use the affiliate links. But somebody was commenting saying that they were going to buy 3 because they were going to keep 1 and then sell the other 2 in 6 months. And I think, to me, that seems like a terrible idea because A, it's McFarlane, so it's not really a great investment to begin with. There's usually a lot of sales, but some of them, some can go up in price. But this one being so insanely overpriced, I think is going to it'd have to go on sale at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way anybody down the road is going to be like, oh, shoot, I missed that $250 2-pack.
That was worth, I'll pay $400 now.
Right. So
right.
I'd like to hear maybe, I don't know if there's really much discussion on that, but if you think this is a sound investment, I'd like to know that too.